When I combined these two things, it led to millions of dollars of revenue. And if you don't utilize them, you will be stuck in the 99%. Let's dive in. So what is the first one? The first one is what we call CCE. Consistent, concentrated effort. So this is you over here. You're happy, you're having a great day, life is good. And you got this lever, you got a giant stick. You got a big stick. And this big stick, right, it's a leverage tool. And over here, you're looking to lift up to produce significant results. You want outsized returns. What do I mean by outsized returns? Returns that are much bigger than the effort that you put in. And so what happens is consistent concentrated effort, what it does is it actually produces the ability to create outsized returns. So when you apply CCE, which is consistent, right? What do I mean by consistent? Over time, you apply this over time, and it's concentrated, right? You're concentrated on this specific task. The amount that you need, the amount of effort that's required is minimal compared to the returns. I'll give you an example of this. And we're going to talk about two things, which is CCE plus TOT. The CCE, consistent, concentrated effort, when I was building Rise Up Kings, right, and I was looking to scale my brand, scale the organization, really make the biggest impact possible, what I decided to do was I decided that, like, what was the thing, like, that I needed to apply effort-wise that would have the biggest return. And for me, that was a book. And so that book was my TOT. What is the TOT? It's the one thing. This is a book written by Gary Keller, built one of the largest real estate organizations in the entire world. And he wrote that the way he built it was through one question. What is the one thing that if I did this would make everything else easier or unnecessary? So for me, when I asked this question 5 years ago, what is the one thing that would make everything easier or unnecessary or would produce outsized return? That question led to the right answer. And the right answer was writing my book, The 2-Day CEO. So my book, that one thing, right? The one thing, because what happens is if you're not focused on the one thing, what are you focused on? You're focused on a to-do list, which is what 99% of people do, is they have a to-do list that they operate off of. And they're checking those to-do lists off. The challenge is these do not move the needle. We always go to the easiest tasks first and knock those out. Knocking out some emails is not going to revolutionize your business. If you're an entrepreneur, it's not going to take this thing to the next level. It's going to be the one thing that will take it to the next level. So the question is, what's the one thing in your business or in your life that would take everything to the next level? And so for me, it was the book, The 2-Day CEO. So that book, once I wrote it, has produced significant results. I'm talking thousands of people, tens of thousands of people have read this book. And it not only generates revenue, which is kind of a cool little side thing, but the amount of coaching and opportunities and impact I'm able to have through that book is incredible. And guess how long that book will be producing results? For the rest of my life. So what I did was I put consistent, concentrated effort. So it took me about 2 years to write this book. Shouldn't take me 2 years, it took me way too long. But I highly recommend, if you write a book, get it done in a 6-month period. But I had consistent effort. So over time and concentrated effort, I dedicated 2 to 3 hours a week on a regular basis. That consistent, concentrated effort produced the 2-Day CEO. That produced my book. I was growing my restoration company, right? We had scaled it. We were looking to get past 8 figures. And so I thought through, what is the one thing that if I did this one thing would make everything easier or unnecessary in my business? And I got the answer. The answer is I need to hire a general manager. So it took me 6 months of CCE. Took me 6 months of effort to go and find an interview. I flew out to Chicago from California. I flew a general manager in. I met many candidates, but I found a GM that helped us go from $6 million to almost $10 million within a 2-year period. And so that was our one thing. So what I see so many entrepreneurs do, though, so many people get stuck focusing on the small tasks, yet they're not going after the leveraged task. They don't have this stick. They're not dedicating the time and effort on something that would be the game changer in the business, something that would move the needle inside of their business. So I want to challenge you, if you're listening to this video, maybe you aren't producing the results that you know you're capable of. Maybe you are struggling inside of your marriage or inside of other areas of your life, right? This doesn't only apply to business, but it can apply to any other area. What is the consistent, concentrated, right, that focus, effort that you can go apply to something over a period of time? I just met with a bunch of our kind of premier coaching clients, and we did a strategy session on this. Hey, what is the one thing that you can apply CCE towards that would be the game changer this year? Like, what's that one thing that would move the needle in your business and your life this year? So if you don't have clarity around that, or if you haven't built the discipline to go dedicate consistent time towards that thing, maybe it's writing a book, maybe it's hiring a specific employee, maybe it's building out your manual, building out a marketing plan, like really dedicating the time to the one thing, like that will produce outsized returns while everybody's running for average returns. And by the way, outsized returns, that's an investment terminology. So it's tied into, hey, what can I go invest where I can build outsized returns bigger than what most people are able to get inside of the investment world? Well, how do I do that in business? How do I go get a return that's bigger than most people? And that's what I've applied towards my companies. And I've also taught thousands of CEOs, but I've applied that to my organizations, which have allowed me to scale faster than most. So again, consistent, concentrated effort combined with the one thing, that clarity, those two things, when you merge and you combine those, it produces outsized returns. Let's go build things. Let's go build businesses, organizations that make a difference in this world.